Hello, everybody, and welcome to Moscow Report for March 25th, 2017, coming to you from Ukraine. Today, I'm going to show you some footage from the 65th Artillery and Rocket Facility and Storage Plant in Ukraine, Kharkov. This is actual footage which was occurring for about 2 days between the March 22nd and 24th at the largest weapons depot in Eastern Europe. In this shot, you can actually see mortar shells and the tochka-u rockets, which are tactical surface-to-surface missiles detonating because of an unknown source. At this point, it is unknown if there were any casualties as well, but the Russian spies are being claimed for this, and also it could be somebody not taking proper care of their weapons. But this was a huge stockpile of weapons in Eastern Europe, one of the biggest dumps of post-Soviet era weaponry stored in Ukraine in the city of Kharkov. We're going to zoom in and take a look at that, but in the meantime, the humanity, I mean, look at this. This is a huge stockpile of weapons that went up. About 100,000 tons is what's claimed to have been stored at this facility in eastern Ukraine. Now, this area, of course, is controlled by the Ukrainian government, not the rebels, but let's zoom in and look at the city of Kharkov, which is on the border with Russia, and the city of Balaklia. The city of Balaklia has approximately 30,000 residents and has a large weapon storage depot, including the missiles of the tochka-u system. This is a Russian-designed surface-to-surface weapon system which can cover a range of approximately 300 kilometers, carrying a 300 to 500 kilogram conventional warhead or a nuclear warhead. The Ukrainian armed forces, of course, do not have the nuclear warheads. This is the normal way of storing these particular missiles in weather, temperature, and environment-controlled silos along with ammunition. This is how it should be done, and this is how Balaklia looks like. Ammunition, these are mortar rounds, are basically just stored outside in boxes under the weather and under the rain. Not too much management, so although it has been claimed by the Ukrainian government at this point, not much is known that it was the Russian saboteurs that caused the explosions. These photos show a very different story. These are actual conscripts at the base, at the actual Balaklia base, taken there with the GPS coordinates confirmed, hanging out and not really taking good care of their weapons and ammunition, just leaving it lying around and posing with it, although it's definitely not a fun thing to do. Yeah, these are just mortar rounds. Each one's about 50 kilograms of explosive. No worry at all. And these are the consequences, actual damage to civilian buildings in the area around Balaklia. 20,000 people had to be evacuated. They've been allowed to return to their homes, and this is how they're finding their homes. Here's some footage from the actual event. You can see the massive detonations of hardware, ammunition happening. Each one of those streaks is a mortar round or a surface-to-surface missile or an RPG round just going off. Quite a tragic-looking event. And I think we're going to switch over to some aerial footage here where you can also see the weapons depot also detonating. That is a massive detonation. If you can see, there's a spinning piece of surface-to-surface missile going off. That's its stage basically going off in two directions and just going completely in an uncontrolled flight. This is not such a bad thing when it detonates close to the facility because it doesn't harm civilians. But there were some of the missile components that actually detonated and launched into the air, flying towards the civilian population. That's another massive explosion there with just missile components flying in every direction. And yeah, this is another angle looking at the same detonation. You can actually see the continuing explosion of smaller arms. That's probably machine gun or rifle ammunition going off in smaller explosions, as well as RPG rounds, fire consuming and destroying everything. Now here is a real problem. This is a surface-to-surface missile that actually detonated and launched itself straight into the air. It is probably a tochka-u or a Grad MLRS missile component, and that can carry up to about 300 kilograms of explosives, landing right in a public area outside of the base. And if you look closely here, each one of those detonations is probably a box of ammunition, machine gun ammo that's going off and it's just being consumed. You can see in a larger explosion as it explodes here, surface-to-surface missiles, RPGs, MLRS systems just going right up into the air. The gray streaks are the solid rocket fuel going off, and the napalm, I'm guessing that is the probably the actual warheads themselves being scattered in different directions because they have a much longer duration of the burn, or that could be some sort of a liquid fuel. If you look closely, you can actually see some of the ammunition also streaking around at high speed without any controller guidance. Mind-blowing photo. I mean, this is not the first time that this has occurred in Ukraine. They've had similar events in 2005, 2008, and 2015. All you have to do is just search for weapon depot events, explosions in Ukraine. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you believe that this was done by Russian saboteurs, pro-Russian Eastern Ukrainian rebels, or if you believe that this is simply a case of poor maintenance and poor upkeep of the facilities that are supposed to be housing the weapons stockpile of Ukraine? Thank you very much, everybody, for joining this video. This is Moscow Report, signing off.
Говорит Москва. Работают все радиостанции Советского Союза. Передаем сообщение ТАСС.